Welcome to this episode of No Free Lunch, Economics for a Fallen World. Professor Guernsey and Haymond here. Dr. Haymond, I have a $5 bill here. Abraham Lincoln is on it. It says it's a Federal Reserve note. Let's use it as an exhibit. What is money and why does that have value?
Money is really an essential lubricant between exchanges. It's something, as we talked about in an earlier video, we talked about it being the most marketable commodity. And people will trade for money because they think other people will accept it. And so precious metals historically have served in that purpose. But in societies where there might not be much in the way of precious metals, we've had seashells, even tobacco, other kinds of goods might suffice in that role. You know, money has certain attributes. You want it to be relatively scarce. You don't want to make here in Ohio corn money. That would lead to some massive inflation next growing season. And you want it to be durable. You want it to last. Paper dollar bills are actually, there's a reason why the Treasury has been for years trying to get us to use dollar coins, because the dollar bills wear out so quickly. It's fairly expensive, and coins last quite a long time. So you want it to be durable. You want it to be divisible, so you can have small fractional transactions that be easily kind of made. And so those are all things that we think about money. But for your dollar bill specifically, paper money is something that it has emerged only as a product of the state, and usually it's been introduced as a transaction that it is to ease the burden of it. So for instance, when we're on a gold standard, or even before we were on a standard per se as a government, and gold would be the common money, it's actually fairly laborious to go to a bank and get heavy gold and carry it around. Very quickly, the goldsmiths would just, rather than me going and getting my gold, paying you, and then you taking it back to the goldsmith for storage, they would just give a little paper receipt of that. And I would hand it to you, and you take the paper receipt back. And so we would have paper, and the paper would represent a claim on the physical gold that would be there. And so in our own currency, this is not like an older currency. We used to have dollar bills that would be blue. They'd have a little blue ribbon on them, and it would say silver certificate. You could take it and exchange to any bank for 1 ounce of silver. And so the paper money was a claim on a certain amount of precious metals. And that's the way our currency started in this country. But with the inflationary problems that all governments across all time eventually do, they always debase their currency in some way. When we were under precious metal standards, historically, countries would introduce base metals into the mix to debauch their currency. And with the modern printing press, we would just print money on it. But as people became habituated into taking paper money and got used to it, in other words, then the government could break that link and say, we're no longer going to do it. And people are used to doing it, and they just keep going. And that's kind of the way paper money has always been introduced.
So this $5 bill has value because you and I and lots of other people say it has value.
That's right.
Not because
there's no intrinsic value, as people like to say. They use that word intrinsic value. And intrinsic, in economics, we really believe in the idea of subjective value, i.e. the market value of some good is subjectively assessed by the multitudes of independent people. Doesn't mean there's not objective value, but that's not the price we put towards that. So
it has value as an instrument to be able to buy goods and services.
So the most marketable commodity, gold historically, or silver, would have a value outside of its monetary character, is what we would say. And so precious metal, gold is jewelry and other kinds of things like that. Silver has a lot of industrial uses, as well as silver for jewelry and other things. So.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, thanks for joining us. Hope that you think about your money a little bit differently as a result of this conversation and your study.